going to go ahead and get started. I'm really excited for today's Growth Show. So first of all, hey, thank all of you that are joining us today. I cannot believe that it's August of 2026. Like literally Q3 is almost halfway over. It's like, where did this year go? I feel like I say that every single month, but I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us. I know there's a lot of things you could be doing, eating lunch somewhere, having lunch with a friend, but you decided to be here with us. I appreciate you for that. And I think you made a wise choice because we have an awesome guest in store for you today. It's a two-peater. Hopefully we'll be a three-peater next year. But we have Jay Swedelson in the house today. Jay is like the biggest email marketing guru and guru of many other things as well. Just glad to have you, Jay. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the show.
I'm fired up to be here, and your show is awesome. I attend and watch when I'm not on it, so I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, I've got to say something, too, about Jay. I mean, Jay's such an awesome day. He's an author. I've got links to all of his stuff there, obviously, in the agenda. Lauren, please share that agenda a couple of times as we go through it today. But last year, when Jay was on the show, Jay, when he booked with us, it was many months before the show. That's how you have to do these things. And then his family booked a trip while our show was supposed to be scheduled. And so he planned on, he's like, okay, well, hey, I promised Vindy and Paul that I would do the show. I'll just do it from the hotel lobby or whatever. And then he got sick on top of that. And I'm telling you, after doing this for almost 5 years, 90% of the guests that I would have, if either one of those conditions occurred, would have canceled and just said, hey, that's Vindy, I'm sorry, I can't be there. Jay showed up last year sick and on vacation. And Jay, you delivered a phenomenal performance. Thank you for that.
Well, no, listen, I get that because no shows stink. I had that the other day. I was speaking at this big conference, like 1,000 people in attendance. It was supposed to be a panel. And a few hours before the panel, they go, oh, the other panelists aren't showing up. We need you to do a solo session. And I'm like, what? What? I had nothing. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And so it all works out.
Yeah. Well, Jay, you're just such a great guy. And now you're an author. I'm excited. We'll talk about that here in a little bit too. But podcast host, I will tell you that I think one of the reasons why Jay said yes to me last year is I on one of your LinkedIn posts talking about your Do This, Not That podcast, I jumped in and commented that that's my Tuesday workout routine that I listen to Jay. I'm on my elliptical. And and actually it's a great podcast. I hope you guys can listen to it. I love it that they're like 10 to 15, 20 minutes long most of the time. I can get a couple of them in while I'm working out, and just such practical stuff. So if you guys aren't following Jay, be sure to do that. His link to his LinkedIn profile is in the agenda. Also have links to his website and links to his podcast as well as his book. And so as a matter of fact, we do have 5 copies of Jay's book we're going to give away today. Before we do that, I want to introduce you guys to Lauren. Lauren, you want to say hi to everybody?
I do. I need to unmute first. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren. I'll be hanging out in the chat with you guys today. If you have any questions, drop them in. I've already shared the agenda once. I'll probably share it a few more times. But yeah, happy to be here. Happy to talk B2B marketing with all y'all today.
Yeah, and let's definitely fire up the chat today. Jay and I will be looking at that as we go through our conversation. We'll want to pull you guys into the conversation as much as we can. And to really incentivize that, I do, as I mentioned, Jay's a new author. Love the title of the book. I was actually curious about it, and then you cover it right in either the introduction or chapter 1, that this was some great advice that I think your uncle or your grandfather or somebody like that gave you.
My grandfather.
Yeah, your grandfather gave you. And great advice. And I'm about halfway through the book. And I've actually picked up some really good tips and things. Awesome. So it's been really helpful. Like one of the things, I'll just give you an idea of how practical his book is. When you share a LinkedIn post link, like on Slack to get other people to like it and share with it, if you don't delete all the stuff after the question mark in that copy the link, it's actually telling LinkedIn basically, hey, I'm sharing this with other people to try to get my engagement up. And they'll actually demote your post rather than let that engagement count for you. So when you share your LinkedIn post with other people in your company, take all that stuff off of the link to the post after the question mark. Such practical advice and something I've been doing wrong for years.
Nobody knows that one. It's such an easy one because everything after the question mark and the link of that post is the UTM, which is like the tracking stuff. And so when you remove all that and then you share that link around with people in your organization or your friends or whatever, it's as if they're seeing it naturally in their feed. And it really does give your posts, company page and personal page, a big, big boost.
Yeah, so smart, so smart. And, if you're not sharing links to posts on your Slack channels or whatever to build up engagement, definitely do that. And we had been, but we just been doing it the wrong way. Another thing that's cool about this book is Jay's not keeping the proceeds. All the proceeds are going to a very good cause, and that's cancer research, right?
Yeah. So we're donating all the proceeds of the book to the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And I'm so excited to say we've now sent over $130,000 since we launched the book in June. So if you buy the book, even if it stinks, it doesn't matter if you buy it on Kindle or audiobook or on Barnes & Noble or Amazon, doesn't matter where, you're doing something good. And even if it's toilet paper, you did something good for humanity.
Yeah, awesome. And so we're going to give away 5 copies of Jay's book today. And there's 2 ways that you can do that. And if you do both, that's great. That gives you 2 votes in the pot. One is just be active on chat. So if you say hi to Jay or hi to me, or let us know, what it is you're hoping to learn today about B2B email marketing, that'll count. Those of you that don't want to say anything, you're probably not going to have an opportunity to win the book. You can also go to LinkedIn after the show today and just let us know what you thought about the show. Was it awesome? Did you pick up some amazing tips? Did it stink? You'll never watch the B2B Growth Show ever again. We don't care. Just go on to LinkedIn. Let us know your thoughts and drop the hashtag. What was the hashtag? Oh, yeah, VendyJ. Vendy, VendeJay, hashtag VendyJ. We'll pick that up and then we'll comment on it, and that'll also enter you into a chance to win 5 of the copies of the book. We're going to buy those copies. Jay was kind enough to say, hey, we'll get them away, but I'd rather buy them so that we can help out with that cancer research. So very cool thing that we're doing. Before we get into today's topic, I do have a couple of announcements. One, we have a new resource available to you. It's called the Email Accelerator Playbook, and it's just for B2B companies. I did want to share my screen real quick with that. Let me share my screen just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's a link in there. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. This is just, there's 30 or 40 pages to the document, but it walks you through this 7-step playbook on really some of the things that Jay's going to talk about today. Ultimately, how do we deliver emails to our audience in a way that supports what they're trying to do? Partner in their pursuit is really what we like to call that. And so be sure to grab a copy of that today. Also, get your pen and paper out because Jay's going to have a lot of very cool things to share with us, some real practical tips and things like that. So let's go ahead and look at the survey results. Jay, one of the things we've been doing for the last year or so is whenever people register for the B2B Growth Show, we give them an opportunity to fill out a survey. And, we had about 260 or so people register for this event, but over 100 people actually filled out the survey and told us what they're thinking, what their struggles are as it relates to B2B marketing. And I love doing this because it gives us some real insight into what our audience is struggling with. And I thought this was super appropriate based on everything we're going to be talking about today. And I just wanted to get your reaction to this. So the first one is pretty apropos. 97% of the folks that filled out the survey, Jay, said that their emails really aren't consistently driving any type of positive results for their business. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think this goes to the heart of what's wrong with the mindset of B2B marketers, because in most B2B marketers, the thing action is, they signed up for a demo, they downloaded something, they're interested in what we're doing, they're going to go to pipeline. And that's, to me, totally ridiculous because at any given time, only 5% of your market is in market for what you're doing. 95%, are not. So everything else that you're doing throughout the year, you're building up that one moment that when they are in market, that they're going to think of you. And so when they say that they're not driving action, that's not driving the action that you want them ultimately to take to become a customer. But the action should really be that they're consuming your content, that they are getting access to stuff, that they're looking at you as more and more of a thought leader. So that number, 97%, is really indicative of the wrong mindset the B2B marketers have, because action should not be pipeline. And that's where I think email in our minds is all messed up.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that, Jay? We run into that same challenge when we talk to B2B companies just about B2B go to market in general. Like we might get a phone call and you probably get these same calls and it's like, hey, I want to run some LinkedIn ads. We don't know how to run LinkedIn ads. Can you run some LinkedIn ads for us? And we're like, okay, what do you want to do? Oh, we want to generate a bunch of leads. And we're like, well, hey, LinkedIn as a paid channel is more about guaranteeing that your ideal customer sees the message that you want them to see, not necessarily, become a hand raiser the first time they run across one of your ads. And I think we feel the same way about our email.
Yeah, listen, I love LinkedIn. We run ads there all the time for all of our clients because I have an agency as well. The good and bad about LinkedIn is you can target really, really well. But that platform, it's not an intent platform. You don't go to LinkedIn looking for an answer to your problem. So to your point, it's very, very top of the funnel stuff. Now, if you want people that are intending on getting out something like a new product or a service, Reddit, for example, which most B2B marketers are sleeping on, that's an intent platform where people are going there to solve a problem. So if you're trying to get further down the funnel, you need to be looking at platforms that are further down the funnel and not just have the perfect targeting.
Yeah. And you got to surround your buyer, be everywhere all the time,
Yeah.
Right? That's a key thing. So,
sure.
Hey, a couple more things that this survey pointed out. This next one over here, hopefully you guys can see that okay. This is really, you've already kind of touched on this, but when we ask them, what is the purpose? What do you want your email to achieve? 26% of the respondents said something that was focused on helping the buyer, like helping the buyer learn more, helping the buyer do this. 74% of the respondents said they have the me problem, right? It was like, well, I want more clicks. I want more conversions. I want the buyer to do this. And that kind of ties right into what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is it right there. Of course, listen, we all want more sales. That's table stakes. Of course we do. But this is where you become wallpaper. The more that you're just like, buy this, sign up for a demo and harass people, you not only, people don't realize, you're not getting the opens and clicks and response, but not only that, you're actually creating a negative signal. Right. So when they are in market for the thing, they're not going to consider you. So it's not even so much about, oh, am I getting the response? It's what are you doing? How are you damaging your brand? And I know in what I'm going to go through, I'll rip through a lot of tactical stuff, but this is where the mindset shift is just a mess. Yeah,
absolutely. And, the thing about it is in the last several years, and really I kind of feel like COVID might have been the pivotal moment. The steering wheel kind of shifted. I think that marketers, we were in control of the buying process way more prior to COVID because there was limited access to knowledge, limited access to information. We could put a gated ebook on our website and people would actually fill out a form to get that information because we were limited on where we could get that information. But now the steering wheel has moved over to the buyer. They're actually the ones driving. And instead of trying to fight that, to your point, Jay, we need to lean into it and say, okay, how do we partner in their pursuit? How do we give them everything that they need so that we win mind share before market share? And then when they have a need, they call us. They don't call the competitor, right?
Absolutely.
So the last one here is this, over on the right is, 9% of the folks that took the survey said they're using some type of hyper-personalization tactic. And sending out really relevant personalized emails, which means over 90% really said they're not doing that. A lot of them were in that spray and pray camp where it's like I send out an email once a month, send the same email to everybody. How important in your mind is really hyper-personalization? We touched on that last year, but I'd love to get your perspective, 1 year later.
I know that this is not going to be the right answer, but I don't think it's that important. But when I say it's not that important is, you're going to spend all this time and energy and make sure, okay, you're going to dynamically plug in this thing and that thing and all this amazing stuff is going to happen. Who cares? The most important thing that you could do in terms of personalization, because at the end of the day, there's only so much time in the day. There's only so much that you could do. But there is personalization that crushes it. And it's really a simple concept, which is tell the person who they are. The faster you tell somebody who they are, the quicker they are to respond. So the mistake that B2B marketers make is you're targeting an audience. Oh, we're targeting, IT directors. We're targeting HR professionals. We're targeting blah, 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 right? That's who you're targeting. But are you telling the target that that's who you're targeting? Meaning in your subject line, does it say just for HR leaders? Right? In that headline of that email, does it say, this is for network administrators? This is for mid-market executives. This is for CFOs only. You want to take whoever it is that you are actually targeting, tell them that you are targeting them, and you'll see exponential improvement in performance. And you don't need any sophisticated software. You don't need to get hyper-personalized. It is so easy. And that is the number one trick to actually increasing engagement.
Yeah, that sounds so much easier than, hi, Jay, I saw your post on ABC and LinkedIn. That made me think about our CRM software that I'd like you to buy.
It's ridiculous, and that we waste our time and energy on it. It's just we think too much. Stop, just send it out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's look at just the biggest challenges that we learned from the survey, and no surprises here to me, but segmentation is up there at the top, not being able to test. Should we test everything that we do? I mean, is testing critical? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm a realist, and yes, if you can, and you have this perfect laboratory environment, you could always be doing these perfect statistically relevant tests. Amazing, great job. I'll tell you, my own organization with our own clients, we probably get that right about 70% of the time. The other 30%, though, we're like, we're running against the clock, blah, 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 blah. And we do completely statistically wrong testing. We'll say, okay, what worked about, 3 months ago? Oh, that worked? Great. Have we tried that in a while? No. Let's test it again. Okay. And I know that that's not the laboratory that we should all have, but when you can, great, have that laboratory. But if not, still test something. Every time you press send, it's an opportunity to test something, but don't think it has to be perfectly set up, because it's okay. It is okay.
Yeah, we're not doing brain surgery here, right? Nobody's going to die if we send out the email the wrong way or didn't A/B test everything. And I love how practical that is. I mean, all of us, even if we're not A/B testing today, we could literally go back and look at the last year of email campaigns and go, hey, which ones performed the best? And then dissect it and go, I wonder what that was that made that perform well, and see what elements of that we can implement moving forward and see if we get the same results. That's a great way of testing. Awesome. Anything else kind of stand out here as not surprises, like connecting engagement to pipeline or any of these things that jump out at you?
Yeah, the first one, I'll tell you something that frustrates me when sometimes you'll hear marketers say, we don't have a lot of ability to do segmentation. We don't have a lot of data, whatever. And there are ways to segment that everybody has access to that we sleep on. I'll give you a great example in the B2B world. So, depth of click. So when you send out an email and you have, somebody has to scroll down and you have a call to action button, after the fold, they have to scroll down to click on it. All right. Well, we have found that the people that click on the link that's in the second half of the email, okay, those people are going to pipeline 300% more than people that click on the top half of the email. Now, that is a segment that everybody has, and we are sleeping on. And what are we doing as marketers? We're treating all of our click-throughs as, they clicked, they're all equal. They're not. Right. And looking at, wow, if you scroll down, you read all this stuff, you are further down the funnel. So when we say we don't have the data, we don't have the segmentation available, you do. It's just, maybe you don't have every element of everything, but there are segments that you are sleeping on that could be a game changer.
Yeah. Boy, I love that. It kind of made me think about, like, this is somewhat unrelated, but people are concerned about AI kind of chewing up all of our traffic, right? Because I can get AI answers now. I don't have to click on your website. But to your point, Jay, the people that do click are much higher intent. They're going to convert a lot higher, kind of like people that have taken the time to read all the way through your email and are down at that second click. Those are probably people that have more intent because they're obviously showing they're interested, or they wouldn't have made it down there. Spot on. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's move on. That was really interesting. Thank you guys, everybody that fills out those surveys every month. Super helpful to us in just crafting what we're going to share with you today. I did have some questions, Jay, that I wanted to just cover with you. And feel free to piggyback on some of the things that we've already talked about. But in your opinion, because you're in B2B, you work with B2Bs. Yeah. I know you do B2C as well. But why are B2B emails so bad right now? Like, why? What are we getting wrong?
Templates for the most part, right? So everybody's out there and they're like, we need a new template. What's the best template? And we'll go ahead and we'll download these templates. And it's just some version of garbage. Like if I said to you, close your eyes and imagine a webinar promo from some random SaaS company, you'd say, okay, I can imagine a dark, blue email with some headline, 2 circles of people I don't know and a button that says register. We're just copying each other and it's a path to nowhere and I can't take it.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So I like one of the things that you said in your book. It's like, you've got to stand out if you're be yourself, be risky, do something that's going to kind of break the norm. That's the only way to break through today. And everybody seems to be following the same playbook.
I hope everybody here does continue to follow the same playbook and put out the templates and all the garbage, because then my stuff will stand out. So I actually need everybody to do the garbage so I could stand out. So I appreciate everyone.
Awesome. Okay. So here we are. I mentioned earlier at the beginning, we're almost halfway through Q3. There's not much runway left in 2026, but I'm sure a lot of the people that are watching the show today are thinking about their 26 and how can I make my number? How can I do the things that I need to do? And how can I leverage email as a way to do it? Can you think of like 1 or 2 things we could share with the audience that they could implement this week, next week, that would actually help them between now and the end of the year?
Yeah. So let's talk about that specifically you just said. Number 1, take out 2026 from every piece of content that you have. Go ahead and audit your automation streams. 2026 is over. Anything that says 2026 right now is an absolute boat anchor. On the flip side of that, include 2027 in everything you're doing. The outlook for 2027. What do you need to know for 2027? Here's content you need for 2027. Blah, blah, blah for 2027. That is where we're at right now. And everything starting September 1 that says 2027 crushes it through the end of January. So that is the easiest, simplest thing you should be doing that you could do right now.
Awesome. Lauren, go grab all of the resources on our website, updated for 2026 to updated for 2027, and we'll be golden.
That's right. 100%.
Yeah, awesome. So we kind of touched on this already, but, hyper-personalization, I think you've said, it's probably more effort than it's worth. You kind of touched on buyer enablement. What are your thoughts? Anything else you want to just share about, segmentation, hyper-personalization, serving the buyer? What are some tips that we can think about there?
Everybody out there is using, platforms. They're using Salesforce Marketing Cloud or HubSpot or who knows what, right? And all these platforms now have cool things that you could do. Things like, for example, send time optimization. Ooh, the ultimate personalization where send time optimization is instead of sending your emails all out at 8 a.m. or whatever, you can click this button on all these platforms and your emails will go out at the exact time that that person is most likely to open based on all of the data that the platform has for that person. This to me is like extreme garbage personalization, because what happens is so many people now are doing things and clicking that button, for example, send time optimization, that people are getting flooded at this one period of time with all this garbage promotional email. So don't just take whatever the latest feature is, whatever platform you have, like, oh, we should do that because it sounds cool. A lot of times those features are actually the thing that actually will hurt your performance. So I'm a big believer, just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Right. Absolutely. That makes so much sense. Hey, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. This wasn't in our agenda, but as you're talking, it made me think about it. And that is because I've never asked you about it. I'm curious what your thoughts are. So there's no right or wrong answer for sure. But what are your thoughts on cold email? Like, when did we change the word spam to buy a list, send an email out to a bunch of people that aren't opted in, and now we call it cold email and it's okay? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not one of these holier than thou people that says cold email is something that never should be done and all this stuff, because I'm also a realist. I know the overwhelming majority of companies on clients do cold email in some capacity, especially, sales folks that do. Number one, that can't be your go-to-market. It's one thing if you have, sales folks that have access to like a Zoom info, they're downloading, 50 exact right people and they're messaging those people real one-to-one. I could live with that. But if you're downloading large segments and that is your go-to-market, that's an epic fail. You're not doing marketing. You're just being annoying. Whatever you do, though, and I don't care if you use a Clay or this one or that one, doesn't matter. It's all the same garbage. Whatever you do with any type of cold email data that you're bringing in, you want to put it through a validation service, whether that's Zero Bounce or whichever one. There's a million of them out there. You got to do that, because if you send email out to spam traps which every cold email data source has, you will ruin your sending reputation. So be real with yourself, saying, okay, my salespeople are going to send out these emails. If we're going to do that, we got to put it through a validation thing, remove spam traps to the best of our ability, and live to fight another day.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the industry is having a bit of a shift in perspective because of all the tools we have available. But, even HubSpot now with their prospecting agent, which is their AI that will send out basically cold emails. They did that partnership with Apollo and I think a couple of other people where they can you can go type in your ICP. They'll go suck down all of the emails from Apollo and then have prospecting agent, build custom emails for you so that you can literally go in and hit send. I was really surprised when they did that because that felt like something different than what I've heard HubSpot say before. But to your point, Jay, I think it's mainly for sellers, right? You're a seller, you're going to send that out. It's not going to be, your go-to-market marketing email. It's hopefully going to be a personalized one-to-one email, not a, spray and pray email.
100%.
Yeah. Interesting. Hey, I'm going to jump over to your presentation now, but if we have time at the end, or if it's not in your presentation, I'd love to hear what you're doing with AI. Like at some point, if you can work that in, just whatever you guys are doing that's cool with AI, I'd love to hear it. But if you want to go ahead and share your screen and let's just go through what you got to share with us.
Let's do that. Tell me when you see it.
I see it. Da-da-da-da.
Okay. There it is. All right, I will rip through this really fast. So a lot of stuff here is super, super tactical. And I just want to share, not because you care about what I do for a living, but just so you know where my data comes from. I do have an agency called Outcome Media, and I also have a media business called Guru Media Hub. And we're about 100 or so person organization in my agency. We work B2B, B2C, all sorts of stuff, demand gen, consulting, you name it. And then my media company, we put on a lot of crazy events, but we have a research division where we aggregate all of the data from about the 40,000 campaigns that we run annually for our clients. And we bring that together. And that's where all my numbers come from. And we're always looking at real-time data. So I talk very fast. My slides are very, very ugly, but such is life. But I want to get you what's working right now. So Paul brought up, what could we be doing right now to actually have a huge impact? So what's really important is to understand what content crushes it from October through January. Because when you hear about this now, it's going to take you a minute to create that content. And there are certain content types that do better than just about any other content types if you use them from October through January. The number one type are industry calendars. This couldn't be easier to make. You can go to ChatGPT and say, I'm in this industry. What are the events? What are the big things for my industry? I want to make an industry calendar. And then on that calendar, you also throw in maybe what your webinar dates are for 2027 or what shows you're going to be exhibiting at or whatever. Make it a downloadable thing. It is the number one type of content that you could be putting out there between October and January. And then other things like benchmark reports or annual planning worksheets or predictions. This is what we want to be creating right now, because if you use this in Q4, this will crush it as compared to just regular garbage, boring stuff. Okay. Now let's talk about un-AIing our marketing. It's wild how the pendulum keeps swinging, right? The pendulum keeps swinging that at first when AI first came out, oh my God, let's make everything with AI. Now it's like, oh no, AI slop is everywhere. What can we do to stand out? So right now in the world of B2B, the thing that is working better than anything is BTS. And the irony here of BTS, behind the scenes content, putting this in your email newsletters, putting this out on LinkedIn, putting this out on your website, showing people behind the scenes of, hey, I'm a manufacturer. Show them, what you're manufacturing, how it works in the plant. Hey, I'm a SaaS company. Go over where the developers are standing and talk to the developers and show them developing it. Whatever it is, show them behind the scenes of your day. This is where I get coffee. We want to connect with humanity, and we're seeing that more and more. I love Amy Porterfield's stuff because Amy's fantastic. Her entire business is built around webinars and stuff, and she makes all these videos of behind-the-scenes stuff, and that's what she puts in her newsletter. And the secret tip here, by the way, is this play button. When she puts in her newsletter, we do this too, when we do this with our clients. If you overlay, you take a screen image of the start of your video, you overlay a play button on it. Okay, this is the number one way to increase click-throughs to get your videos played. When you click on this, you go to the page where the video is, and then you click play again, and it actually crushes it. It increases your click-through rates by over 34% just by doing this tactic. So if you want to get B2B video going, BTS with a play button on it is gold. Now, the thing that's working crazy well right now is a format called walk and talks. Now you're here and you're like, wait a minute, why did I sign up for this webinar? I'm talking about walk and talks. This is ridiculous. The game now is, what are we going to put out there that's going to break through? That's not going to be the same boring stuff that everybody always does. Literally, it's taking a camera, pointing at yourself, and walking around. It could be walking into the office, walking into another department, walking to get lunch, talking about the thing, being at a conference. Walk and talks have among the highest consumption rate and completion rate on LinkedIn. Now, if you want to know how I know it really works, is this week, this dude, Daniel Shapiro, he is the CEO of LinkedIn, okay? He knows what works on LinkedIn, right? He had to release his earnings report this week. That's the image you see here on the left, right? That is how he did his earnings report, was a walk and talk. You go to his profile, the CEO of LinkedIn, almost all of his content right now are walk and talk videos. There is a very specific reason he's doing it, because he knows that this is exactly the format that is working right now. Maybe like, oh no, that's off brand. I can't do that. I can't get that approved by whoever. That's ridiculous. Look at Meta, okay? Look at my guy, Mark Zuckerberg. When they go out there and they're trying to promote stuff and they're testing, okay, A/B test. Let's test our boring template that we got here on the right. And then let's get Mark to do something that kind of looks like cool or whatever. The stuff that actually feels human, even though everyone thinks he's a bot, this is what actually works. And that is why they're putting it out there. It's not because they're bored. The humanity of it all is everything. Look at Dreamforce. If Dreamforce could put out memes like this, okay, and they're putting out videos of trying to flip a bottle, you could put out a walk and talk, right? This is how it works. This is Salesforce promoting Dreamforce. So how about this? I mean, I love it. You can see brands all over the place. Like, what brand is this? Look at these numbers. 3.8 million, right? 2.2 million. What brand is getting all this stuff from these random videos? This is Amtrak.
Wow.
Amtrak, the train, is getting millions of views. Why? Because they're inserting humanity into what they do. You could do better than Amtrak, I promise you. Now, our email list, of course, we should be using it for more than just sending out our email offers. One of the things that we use it for all the time is on LinkedIn. So if you take your email database, your newsletter file, your customer file, your targeted account list that you're going after, and you upload that to LinkedIn as your targeted list, okay? And then you can then boost any post or run any ad that you want to that list. So for example, we do this all the time. Let's say there's a company or 5 companies that I really want business from, okay? I will go and get the contacts from those 5 companies, 50 contacts from those 5 companies. Maybe I'll get a Zoom info, whatever. And then I'll upload that as a custom list into LinkedIn. And then I will run retargeting and remarketing programs on LinkedIn only to those 50 contacts, nonstop for a month. And you know what happens to those people at those companies? They don't know that we're only running it to them. They think we're huge. They think we're running this all over the place. And they're like, oh my God, we got to work with them. They're everywhere. If you want to dominate the brain of a handful of companies, you can do that. But what we also do is LinkedIn now has this new format. So here's a normal LinkedIn ad on the left. But simultaneously, just by clicking their personalization button, you now can run the same ad and it could say the person's name, Jason, and then are you ready to revolutionize software development industry? It will personalize on an individual basis the person's name and industry on LinkedIn. So if you're not testing this on LinkedIn, and this is the URL, and Paul will get you the slide deck here when this is all over. This is the URL for more info on that. It's a great thing to try.
Absolutely.
I'll get off all the social stuff in a second. But one of the other things that's magic right now that B2B is sleeping on is Facebook and Facebook groups. You're like, oh no, I'm not going to run ads on Facebook. That's ridiculous. That's for consumer boomers. It is not. I will tell you, for our clients, if they're running webinar promos, if they're trying to get SaaS demos, if they're trying to sell product, the lowest cost per acquisition programs, the lowest cost acquisition programs, and the highest show up rate for webinars, the highest show up rate for the demos is not coming from LinkedIn. It's not coming from email. It's not coming from anywhere but Facebook. Running paid ads on Facebook is the number one play for conversion for B2B. And the thing that you really should be thinking about is creating a Facebook group. You're like, what is this, 1998? Yeah, a Facebook group. So Facebook recently released this new app called Forum. It is an app specifically for Facebook groups. It's basically all your Facebook groups in one place. All right, and they're doubling down on Facebook groups because I don't know about you, that's 90% of what I do on Facebook now are the groups that I'm in. You want to create a group about whatever thing that you do, right? You're an HR company, whatever, HR laws for 2027, HR must knows for whatever, powered by your brand, right? And create this group. When people talk about community, everything else doesn't work. Slack doesn't work. Circle doesn't work. Everything is hard. Facebook groups work, and they work for B2B, and everybody's sleeping on it. All right, let's get into some other stuff. I know how fast I talk, but this is me. What can I tell you? So forever in the world of B2B marketing, what have we known? We've known that evergreen is the way to go. Let's put up on our website that, all this evergreen stuff, that whether you go to our resource tab today, tomorrow, or a year from now, there's going to be content there that's going to be good. It's going to work. Everybody should check it out. And that's been the B2B playbook forever. Okay. But that has really changed. Evergreen is really not the thing anymore. So what we found with all the AI stuff that's going on out there, AI citations are now an average of 393 days newer than Google search results. What does that mean in English? That means that all the different AI tools, Perplexity and Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT and everything, when they're scouring the web, they're looking for things that are newer, that are saying that they're newer. They're not just looking for that evergreen content. So what does that actually mean? Content or offers that include a recent date or time period, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a second, in the title, in the name, have a 50% higher likelihood of showing up in ChatGPT and other LLMs by including a recent date or time period. So for example, I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, can you help me find ways and content that'll help my team get more organized with our billing and expense tracking? And this is what it gave me back. Look at what it gave me back. Most of what it gave me back was something that had a recency signal in the name of the content, right? It went out there looking for something on the recency signal in the name of the content. And that is how we're winning. We now need to look at our resources, everything we're putting out there, everything that's on our website, old resources, whatever. And we want to rename our reports. We want our webinars to have a recency signal. We want our podcast episodes. We want our guides. We want our blog titles, everything to have some kind of recency signal. This is the number one thing that the AI tools are looking for because they want, we want to give somebody back fresh stuff. So we say, I don't know how to show up. This is how you show up. And you could literally, all you have to do is add a stamp as of August 2026, based on 2026 data. Just relaunch everything, right? This is how we win. Little things that can have a huge, huge impact. And on your resource page, you want to make sure table stakes is that your pages need to be updated. Your AI tools will not look at any page on your website that has not been updated in the last year. Period. End of story. The page itself needs to be updated. So that's another simple thing that we got to be looking at. So one of the things I hear about all the time as relates to email, and on behalf of our clients, we send out about 6 billion emails a year. That's a lot of email, right? We hear this a lot. We're sending too much, and that's why things aren't working. We're annoying people, so we need to send less so that way it does better. That is a recipe to go out of business, okay? I am not in the camp of believing that you're sending too much email. Now, why do I say that? You need relevancy, okay, and frequency are married together. It's not that you're sending out too much. It's that you're sending out boring, horrible content and information. That is why people aren't engaging. If you send out relevant stuff, you could send me an email 7 times a day. So it's not that you're sending out too much. It's what you're sending out is garbage. Now, what happens internally, which is why I'm on this like soapbox, is that somebody will say, well, we should send out less. It will do better. And here's what happens. This is a chart of an example client of ours, okay? They said before they were sending out 600,000 emails, okay? 100,000 per month. And then they cut back on some of their emails and they went down to 75,000 per month, basically, right? And ooh, great news for them. Their open rate went up. Super big open rate from 43% to 55%. Wow, high five. We were right. We should be sending out less. And their click-through rate went up too. See, I told you, we're bothering people. But this is trash garbage. And why? Because over the course of 6 months, yes, on an individualized basis, your open and click rate went up, but your unique opens went down. Your unique click-throughs went down. Your sales opportunities went down, right? It's not about these vanity metrics. It's about taking a step back, saying, how many people are we reaching? Let's send out more relevant stuff. But it is nonsensical to me when people say we need to send out less. That's not the problem. Okay, why don't you send out 0? See how that goes for your business. That's really less, right? Another big one is, okay, we have a new email template. We send it out and it's doing great. Look at what happened. We switched templates and now our click-through rates are sky high. This is the greatest template in the history of the world. That's not what's happening, okay? What's happening is you sent out something new. And because you send out something new, people are like, oh, this isn't the same boring thing that I always see, right? It's not that your template was great. It's that it was new. So what we have found in all the data that we look at is you need to have a mix of formats. You can't just have one template for all your webinars. This is what they go out and how they look. This is what our content download template is, and this is how everything's going to look. If I can see in my head what your email is going to look like before I open it up, that means you don't have enough diversity in the formats that you're sending out, and I don't open it up. Subconsciously, I don't open it up because it's already boring in my mind. So what we found is that when you actually add different formats, HTML email, letter format email, digest style email, and the more formats that you have, okay, versus a single format, for example, if you have 4 formats versus a single format, okay, you see a radical increase in open rate and click-through rate because it gets the person slightly more interested every time you hit send, right? So it's not, oh, our template is great. It's, do we have a good format mix? I also have so much stuff here. It's another reason I'm talking fast. I want to get through it all for you all. The thing that you're going to hear about the most heading into 2027 in email is something called live text. This is a B2B email. This is TikTok B2B. They do a great job. Live text is going to be the number one topic in the world of B2B email marketing heading into 2027. What does that mean? So right now in Gmail, right now in Apple, and it's going to be even more so with Apple with their next update, even in Outlook, they're doing things with AI summaries, right? They're starting to summarize parts of our email into these AI summaries. This is going to explode as we head into 2027. The way that AI summaries work is that they are looking for what's called live text. Live text is basically text in your email that's in your HTML code that the AI can scan. Any text that's in an image is not able to be picked up by any of the AI summaries. That is why, for example, TikTok has what looks like a 1985 email here. They're doing this for a reason. That is why Asana, you see in their email, they have these links here, like the old school links with clickable links. This is by design because this is live text. If you have any words or any copy, okay, that is buried in an image, this B2B emails from Spotify with live text. This is being done so that the right thing is being pulled into those AI summaries. And there's a lot of confusion out there. Alt text. So when your image is not showing up and you have alt text, that is not live text. Your alt text will not get picked up in the AI summaries whatsoever. So you need to not only have your call to action buttons, your graphical ways, but now you need to have them repeated like as if it's 1995 in the hyperlinked ways, the way that we used to. So basically the key thing is that moving critical copy from an image into a live HTML actually will increase by 42% the correct offer action extraction into those AI summaries. And that's what we're going to be thinking about as we head into 2027. So live text is the new North Star. A few other things. CTA repetition. This one's so easy, and I think not enough marketers are doing this. So this is an email from B2B side of LinkedIn promoting their stuff. Very, very long email, crazy long email. But we're seeing this more and more. So I'm a big believer of one offer in an email. That's me, whatever. Let's assume that you're on that same team. All right. But when you have one offer in an email, you still should have multiple call to action buttons. But the secret sauce nuance now is those call to action buttons actually having a different naming convention for those buttons. And that's exactly what LinkedIn has done here. Every one of their links is different size, different words, all going to the same offer, which is really interesting. And so we tested this like a zillion times. We found if you have your baseline of 2 call to action mentions, and then you have verse 3 with different wording, same offer, 14% increase in click-through. 4 mentions, 19%, 5 mentions, 22%, all saying it slightly differently. This is a super easy test and fun one to try. And if I rattle off 10 tests that you try them all, and some of them work, some of them don't, you'll say Jay's a doofus, and that may be true. But it's all about having, it's not everything we do here is going to work for everybody. It's all about testing little things. And the littlest things do matter. How about TikTok on their B2B side? What is TikTok doing here that's working so well? It's at their call to action. They're adding in this little thing right here, right? This little arrow. You're like, really? Does that matter? It does matter. Believe it or not. Okay, CTAs paired with directional visual cues, arrows, motion cues, visual anchors will actually see an increase in click-through rates. So when you take a step back and say our emails don't do well, what can we do better? The littlest thing can have a huge, huge impact, and it's crazy. Oh, so before we get to questions and stuff, a few things. I do have a book. This is my crazy book. All proceeds are going to the V Foundation for Cancer Research. We became a USA Today bestseller. If you buy it, doesn't matter what platform, you're doing something good for humanity. I hope you check it out. And if you do have the book, you did read it, leave a review because that helps it out too. So we're trying to kick cancer's butt. I'm going to tell everybody something. I've not said this anywhere publicly. Nobody's going to care but me. But in 2 weeks, I'm announcing for the first time, nobody cares, that I'm going to be putting on a paid webinar course. I've never put on a paid course before. It's going to be all things webinars because everyone's doing webinars wrong, how to get people to want to register, to attend, how to get them to go to pipeline, all the things. It's going to be a huge course. If you want to get on the wait list, because we're going to only do it, we're actually going to do a live launch. So people on the wait list are going to be part of a live launch in October. There's only going to be 48 hours you can be able to buy the course. If you want to get on that wait list, you could email me here at jays@corpwd.com and just say the word webinar. We'll get you on the list. You're not obligated to anything, but then when we do announce the live launch, you'll be able to get access to it. And we're limiting the people that can take the course to only a few hundred because I don't know what I'm doing, and we're going to see if this thing works. So we're really, really excited about this. So if you're interested in that, drop me an email there. Lastly, I have a podcast. I'll drop it in the chat. So if you're really bored, you can check that out. And then if we're not connected on LinkedIn or Instagram, drop me a connection request. I share horrible, horrible stuff. And with that, I will stop sharing.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of that stuff is on the agenda. I knew you were going to be launching that course because I think you posted something, either you DM'd me or did something on LinkedIn about that. That's really cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool about that. Hey, we are giving away 5 copies of the book. So would love to get your questions as we're getting ready to wrap. We've got about 10 minutes to go here. So you still have a chance to get a question in, earn a chance to win one of the 5 copies of the book. Dude, I took so many notes in that that 25-minute fire hose, which was fantastic, by the way. I think everybody that was following along loved everything. I mean, I picked up so many good ideas. One of the things that really kind of jumped out to me was this, the recency signal versus evergreen content. I mean, that's really helpful for AI too. I mean, obviously you're talking about the citations and all of that. They want the most freshest, relevant information. And that to me ties right back. I was thinking about like content flywheels. That's one thing that we talk about at Vindy all the time is, you know, businesses need to have a way of producing a content flywheel. Our B2B growth show is, you know, sorry guys to tell you this, but one of the main reasons we do this show is to have awesome people like Jay on the show every month. We can take the transcript of that show. It turns into blogs. It turns into video clips that end up in social media. It's in our email campaigns. It lives on our website. And I just wanted to validate that what you said, Jay, is absolutely true, because if you go and look at like do a Google search for just about any topic that we have a guest on for, like B2B email marketing trends 2026, or I'm sorry, it's August 11th, but it needs to be 2027. My guess is in about 3 weeks, you're going to find this replay of this show showing up because of the recency element that you were just talking about. So really important there.
And you also asked me, and I didn't mention, so what am I doing with AI that I think everybody should be thinking about doing? So I'll give you one thing I think everybody sleeps on. So we use Claude. You could use whatever, but we use Claude projects a lot. And if you're not familiar, I think everybody should be. And what we've really done is we've spent a lot of time having Claude ingest all the contact data from everything that we're doing. People attend stuff, register for stuff, all this stuff. But what we've done that I think everybody should do is people don't realize you can go on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, you can download your own data archive. Okay, so if you go on LinkedIn, you click on your little face and you go to privacy or whatever, there's a thing where you could download your data archive. And when you go to download it, there's a thing that says, you don't see what you want, click here for more. You want to click that. And then you want to make sure that you're putting in a request to download all of your connections, all of your comments, all of your every direct message. You can download all of that. And then what happens is we put that request in within 24 hours, LinkedIn sends you a link that you could download then an archive of every connection you have and everything. They don't give you email address, but they give you LinkedIn profiles, all this stuff. And then we take that archive, like a My Contact database. We then ingest that into Claude. And we say to Claude, along with all the other data you have, here's a new product we have, a new service we have, a new whatever. And this is what the product's all about. Who are the contacts that we should be reaching out to that are perfect for this thing? And what we have found is you don't remember who you connected to 5 years ago that you're still connected to. You have no idea who you're connected to. You have forgotten. But if you have Claude ingest your LinkedIn connections, it is a gold mine that everybody should be taking advantage of.
Yeah, that's great. I downloaded all that information about 2 years ago. And I mean, of course, AI wasn't where it is today. And oh my gosh, what happened to ChatGPT? Beth and I went to the Dominican Republic in February for our first ever sabbatical in my career. And when I left at the end of January, ChatGPT was like the king of all AI. And then we come back a month later and everybody's talking about Claude. Nobody's talking about ChatGPT. Something happened. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, we run our entire business on Claude. Everything that we do. And then what we also do is, so we tie Claude to Gamma. If you don't know, I don't work for Gamma, but Gamma.app is my favorite AI tool on the earth. And it's a tool to make presentation decks. Okay. So we tie Claude to Gamma, which means we go in there and say, we have a new client that we're going to be working with. This is their target market. This is what they want to do, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then we say, okay, it makes a proposal and then you can tie it into Gamma. And then Gamma has our template in there. It then spits out a proposal for that client in under 2 minutes. Gamma has saved my company. I can't even tell you how much time. It is awesome.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'd never even heard of Gamma. I'm sure Jess, who runs AI enablement for us, is probably watching or listening in. So she's going to go. She probably already knows all about it. She's so far ahead of me than that. So, Jay, thank you so much for your time. I mean, this has been always, I knew we were going to get a wonderful fire hose from you. I love your energy and everything that you say whenever you do one of these shows with us. And I learned so much. I love the fact you've got all this great data that can really drive all of this behind, and it's amazing to me how just the little things, we don't have to figure all this stuff out. We can make little incremental smart changes that can have a big impact in our business. And I think you really drove that point home for us today. And so hopefully, Jay, I know you're going to be at Unbound here in a few weeks, and this will be our third time to be there at the same time. But I've not had a chance to meet you in person. We got to make that happen this year for sure.
Yeah, and let me give you guys a little shout out.
Would love to see you guys.
Yeah, we're going to do that. But also, I want to give you guys a shout out. You didn't tell me to say this, but here's the truth. The thing that I love about Vendy, not only you guys put out great content, but what everyone should follow that you guys do is you don't stop, right? You are consistent, whether performance goes up or down in terms of engagement, whatever, you stay consistent, and I see it and people see it. And that's how you become a thought leader. And that's what you guys are. You're not just out there selling a service, and that's how you win. Consistency will beat out anything. And so I think that that's one of the secret sauces of what you guys do.
Yeah. It's just and that's when you have a content flywheel, consistency becomes pretty easy because you've got something to share all the time. And I love you called that out actually in your book as well. I mean, you don't have to be too smart if you just do the right things over and over and over and over again. So, guys, we do have a great show in store for you next month. Christopher Penn, who is like the godfather of AI, is going to be on our show. That dude is super, super smart. And he's going to be our guest next month. He's going to talk about all the crazy things that are going on in AI, the things that we as B2B marketers need to be thinking about as we're getting ready for 2027. There is a link to register for that in the agenda. I think we'll drop that in the comments as well. And so don't miss that. It's going to be a little bit early next month because we are going to be at Inbound. So I think it's going to be like the 9th or something. I don't have the date in front of me, but you guys have it in your agenda. So be sure to register for that. Grab your copy of the B2B playbook that we've just shared with you at the beginning of the show. I've already forgotten what it's called. It's that late in the day. But, there's a link in it. It's really good. It's got 7 things. You guys will enjoy it. Jay, thank you so much. I will see you next month, and I'll see you guys next month at the B2B Growth Show. Take care, everybody.